Hey, Louise Anderson. Welcome back to the Lupit Instagram live interview series. Today we're going to be chatting to Claudia Renée. She has trained many stars, helped out with the pole dancing on the movie Hustlers. She is a creator of Team Basework, which is a whole platform dedicated to all the amazing stuff that you can do at the base of the pole in the lower third of the pole. Also, be sure to check both Claudia and I out. We're going to be a part of the Beginner Pole Dancer Summit coming up on March 8th, which is just 1 month away. So be sure to follow us both to get your ticket to that. About 28 amazing speakers, all speaking about how to become a well-rounded and inspired pole dancer and keep your joy going. So welcome, Claudia. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so you own Team Basework. You're the creator of Team Basework. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about your platform and what inspired that.
The main thing that inspired the virtual platform was just wanting to connect with more people and being able to connect with people around the world and not necessarily having to travel to them, like a one-stop shop where people could learn from me. I was honestly just getting so exhausted and my body was hurting from all the travel and all the teaching. So I was like, well, I can save my body, I can connect with more people at once. And of course, nothing compares to in-person learning, but it's a good alternative. So when the pandemic hit in March of 2020, I had already been working on this for about a year and I had no time to complete it. But then I was stuck at home and I said, I'm giving myself 1 month. I'm going to launch this.
This is the
So,
moment.
yeah. So we made it happen and launched it in April of 2020. And at first, it was just a place where I was teaching and people could find my classes. And then I started doing collaborations. You and I did a collaboration together, and it kind of grew from there. And then I started hiring instructors to just have their own classes. So now we've got kind of a mix of everything. It's a one-stop shop for my tutorials, to learn from me, to learn from other instructors around the world, and to learn collaborations.
That's
So super
great.
fun.
Access both live and recorded tutorials at that at the website there.
Yeah, and every class comes with a recording. Since we cater to people around the world, we know that the time zone doesn't always work. So everyone who buys the class gets a recording to take it at their own time.
Great, thank you. Okay, so for
Yeah.
people coming on here saying, "Oh, I'm really into pole dancing. This is great." What even exactly is base work? What is it that Claudia is specializing in and offering to us?
Yeah, so base work is dancing at the base of your pole. And my goal is to still feel like an aerialist, but not necessarily feel like I have to go up the pole. I'm still building strength, I'm still building endurance, I'm still doing similar moves and challenging my body in similar ways. I'm just not getting up in the air. And it was so great for us to launch during a time where everyone was stuck at home on shorter poles because they didn't have all of that space and air to play in. So we really did try to cater our classes to make people still feel like they could fly and be a dancer and do all of the things, just staying lower to the ground. And for me personally, not having a dance background, it really has made me feel like a dancer. I feel like I can express, I feel grounded, I can emote more. Yeah, it just makes me feel like a dancer, which is like a really lovely thing to experience.
Yes. Yeah. And I know that, like pole for you has been also a way, almost like this vehicle to find your way into not only pole and aerial, but really like fill you out as a dancer. And so I'd love for you to talk about that as well, because I have seen you kind of over the years go from, finding even more interest in that dance side and even getting to see you blossom as like heels dancer and all this kind of stuff. So
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you because you've always been such a huge inspiration to me, and your dancing is just impeccable and incomparable. So thank you.
oh wow.
Um,
Thank you.
yeah, I think finding myself as a pole dancer really did help me build confidence in feeling like I could go out and take a real dance class. And it was so scary for me in the beginning because I do not learn choreography easily if it's off of the pole. I feel like because our hands are always occupied here, we don't really have to think about all of these things, right? So as soon as I didn't have that, it was a whole new ball game. But I love a challenge, so I just kind of dove into taking heels dance classes from other professionals and going on a regular basis probably from, I think my first class was around 2016, and then I was taking classes from some of my favorite dancers, heels dancers, for a while. And then it was so funny because I had this thought in my head. I'm like, how do I intersect the two? Like, how do I intersect the dance community with the pole community in a way that kind of helps pole dancers get more exposure? Because we're already so limited in the exposure that we get, especially if you're more like sexy style and heels, tiny bikinis, like your shadow band. We all know the struggle. So I was seeing all these dancers dance the same way, just without a pole, and not seeing any of them get blocked. They get hundreds of thousands of views on their videos. And I'm like, what is happening? And how do we intersect the two? So I just
Oh,
kept showing up and connecting with these dancers. And I ended up teaching for two of their platforms, which was like probably one of the biggest honors of my entire career, because these are dancers that I probably watched their videos for 5 years before even going into a dance class. And then they saw something in my movement, like, okay, she moves differently. It's something that we're not used to. It's more of like this stripper inspired style that we're intrigued about. And then we started collaborating. So it was a really cool, like, organic little intersection of the two. So it's been quite the journey. And then that has led me into fire dancing as well. So it's just a whole
great.
mix of things.
Yeah, I love that. It's so fun to just like, witness the evolution of all the dancers in our community. And just,
Yeah.
I forgot that you're into the fire dancing too. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so this was something that, funny enough, when I launched Team Basework, I was in front of my computer for like 16 hours a day. I was barely sleeping. I was like so obsessed with getting everything off the ground and making it right, and learning along the way because I'm not technologically savvy in any way. And here I find myself running a virtual platform, being like, what am I doing? I have no idea. I'm just like trial and error, trial and error. And I needed some time to just feel creative. And because I was in front of my computer so much and just pull, 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 I'm like, I need a creative outlet that's not pull right now. And, it was peak COVID time. So I'm like, well, I can't just go into a dance class and feel comfortable. So I hit up my friend who's a really well known fire dancer. She's been doing it for over a decade. And I said, can you teach me how to fire dance? I don't want to perform it. I just want to know the secrets. I want to just get into it and see if I like it. So I hired her for 10 privates, and it was like the safe thing to do because we were outside. It's fire and we have to be away from each other. So I'm like, this is great. We're not going to get COVID and I can learn something new and get away from my computer. So I did 10 privates over the course of probably 8 months. It took me a really long time to get through them. And then she randomly hit me up and was like, have you been practicing? I have a job for you. And started working at a restaurant doing fire. And then they opened up a location in Vegas and they needed a full time dancer like every day of the week. So I moved to Vegas and I'm doing fire here now.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know you moved to Vegas. Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, I
Oh,
did. I did in November.
oh, wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, I know that's the one thing about um, the virtual world and being able to kind of pack it up and take it wherever you go and still be able to connect to people.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Cool. So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about all of the instruction and all of the help that you had, the help that you provided for hustlers and some,
Yeah.
celebrity clients.
So that opportunity kind of fell into my lap. I was teaching a group class that was a beginner class, and Constance Wu came into the class, and she was at the very last pole, like kind of doing her own thing. And I loved her instantly because I walked up to her and I said, "You're doing great." And she just looks at me and she said, "No, I'm not. Don't lie to me." I was just like, okay, I see the instruction that you need. Like, you need me to be a little bit harder on you. You're trying to get good fast for whatever reason. I had no idea she was an actress. Everyone in class apparently knew who she was, and I didn't. And so after class, she asked if she could hire me for privates. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's link up. And she left, and everyone's like, do you know that's the star of Crazy Rich Asians? Like, did you not know who that was? Had no idea. And so I I trained her for 6 months in preparation for her role. And the movie didn't necessarily need her to be an amazing pole dancer, but she wanted to challenge herself, try something new, and just immerse herself in pole dancing and just understand it on a different level than just like surface, pretending to be a stripper. So she really just wanted to understand the technique behind it and learn from somebody who understood it as well. And so I trained her for a long time. And then the movie started filming, and she flew me out to just be there while she filmed her part. And funny enough, her part did not make it into the movie. So she learned all that pole for nothing.
She has that now. No one can ever take that away from her, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I really like that when an actor, when an actor wants to really
Yeah.
self to kind of understand things from inside out. So, and that's the thing about
Yeah.
dance, that's the thing about movement is that, maybe it's not this tangible thing or you feel rich that you have it, but it's something that no one can ever take away from you once you have this certain amount of information or your body has experienced something. That's yours and you can hold it forever, and I think that's
Yeah.
that kind of gift to give yourself for sure.
Oh, that's beautifully said. I love that. What a great takeaway.
So what is new for both Team Basework and you?
Yeah, so for Team Basic, I'm working right now on a program that's become a pole dancer in 30 days because I really want to, since I've made all these connections with the dance community, a lot of people who've never touched a pole before, and I have a lot of, big clients who are interested in doing this and want to share it with their friends and their communities that have no idea what pole dancing is. So I'm working on a program that's become a pole dancer in 30 days, and they can learn step by step on how to just feel comfortable, get in touch with their sensuality. It's nothing crazy difficult. It's just really the art of becoming a pole dancer and feeling good in your body while doing it. And so yeah, that's really what we're working on right now. And then the start of the year, we're bringing back series. So we're going to do 4-week series with different instructors. We've brought collabs back. We took a big break from those, so those have started back in 2023. And yeah, just bringing on new instructors. Right now, we've got about 18 instructors that circulate through the schedule. Some of them switch off every other month depending on their schedules and how much they're traveling. So it's been really great to just have like a big diverse group of people that just bring something really unique and beautiful to the team. I try not to pick people who move too similarly so that the people who come to the platform and learn can really get a wide range of instruction. It's not just about doing the same body roll at the base of the pole. Like I want them to get as big of a range of movement to add to their repertoire as possible.
Oh, that is so cool. And so really, really big things coming for you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Very cool. If you had some advice to give to someone who was saying something like, all right, I have my pole tricks, but I feel very uncomfortable dancing. I feel very uncomfortable freestyling.
Mhm.
How can I learn to move like you? Or how, what would be the first steps for someone who considers themselves a pole dancer, but is
Mhm.
really geared themselves towards tricks up until this point, who wants to move into a more just cohesive movement?
Yeah, so I would say a few things. I would say first, start slow, be super, super patient with yourself, and try not to compare. I feel like we just get so lost in comparing ourselves, of course, with everything that we see online every day. I see dancers that are doing the craziest tricks at the base of the pole, and my first initial thought is like, oh, I'm not doing enough. And then I'm like, no, I'm doing just enough. I'm doing just enough. This is what my body wants to do right now. This is the space that I'm in, and I'm going to live in this space, and that's okay. So trying to just be patient, not pushing yourself, and maybe putting yourself back in a space of how did you feel when you first started doing aerial tricks? You remember how difficult it was, how much dedication it took, how challenging it was for your mind and your body, and be prepared to go through those same exact phases. And maybe instead of thinking, well, I'm already a pole dancer. This should be easy. This is completely different. This is a new type of dance that you're learning. So think of it in baby steps as if you are just starting something brand new again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that beginner time period can be such a magical time if you really embrace it, because
Hmm.
you know, I always kind of say it's really fun to be a beginner at some type of movement,
Yeah.
because it's like being a kid in a candy shop. You're like, whoa, I never even thought about moving my body in that way.
Yeah.
Like, and now I'm adding that, like even doing it once or starting to add it in, already your pathways of your mind body connection have expanded, that you have even moved in a new way you have never moved before. And that will
Yeah.
affect everything you already do. I mean,
Hmm.
you can't undo that. So yeah, enjoy that beginner mindset. I love that, how you put that. Take your time, and again, like pole dancing as a definition, the only definition we really have in pole dancing is that we are using a pole. So however it is
Hmm.
that you decide to use that pole, you are pole dancing.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know? So it's not like a lot of the other dance forms where it's like, oh, well, ballet has a form, or, you know, or jazz or modern has a form, or salsa has a form. Pole
Yeah.
dancing really is not a style of dance per se, but more of just kind
Hmm.
of like, oh, we use this apparatus, and how we use it is totally up for grabs. Yeah.
100%. And I think we just get so used to like when we're good at something, we want to keep doing that because it's our specialty and we feel good and we get instant gratification doing what we're good at. And the other day I went to a dance class and it was beginner intermediate. And I was like, okay, I've been doing this for a while. I've been going to dance classes since 2015. I'm good to go. I went in feeling really confident. It was an absolute nightmare. Like I was not computing what my arms and my legs needed to do. And I was a hot mess. And then I went and taught a floor work class on Sunday in LA. And I could tell a couple girls were, struggling through some of the movements. It was fast, it was intense, it was dynamic. And I was like, just know that I was right there with you last week. Like, I know that I might seem like this professional and I know what I'm doing and I can just dance to any choreo, but that is not the case. Like, I was doing a class with movement that was so foreign to my body. And after class, at first I was like, oh, wow, I feel really bad. And then I just said, this is just new movement for me. I need more time to process it. And I'm going to be able to take at least 5% of what I learned in that class, and it's going to translate into my body, maybe differently, but it's going to translate in some organic way that's then going to add to my movement in some way. So at least I did something new, challenge myself, and was able to take just a little bit away.
Right. Like you stretched yourself, but you haven't before. I wish for all students and pole dancers to to really be able to witness their pole idols and their teachers taking other people's classes.
A new series.
Yeah, I really wish this for all students, because then they just kind of go, oh, wait, oh, they're just like us. They're a mess.
A mess.
That's right. It's all about, and that also has something to say about, really grounding yourself into following the path of least resistance for yourself. Like,
Yeah.
sure, we want to expand outside and push our limits on all sides. And also, is it okay if you spend a lot of time following the path of least resistance and what feels good? And the answer is yes. I
Mhm.
mean, that's kind of how we all developed our styles. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We just spent a lot of time doing stuff that we felt good doing. And that
Yeah.
then grows into its own new style at that point. So yeah, I
Mhm.
love that. Just, it doesn't have to be this thing that you white knuckle. Pole can maybe be the only thing in your life that you're like, I'll do what feels good. You'll probably excel, and be able to create your own style by following that. Don't push
Yeah.
yourself to this place where it's like, I have to be doing something that I don't do. Okay, yeah, if you want to, if it's fun, you know
Yeah.
and find a way to be in the mind space, headspace, that is fun, right? But it's
Absolutely.
okay. It's okay to go do, that same string of movement, or that stuff that feels good to you, because that ends up morphing
Mhm.
into something too.
Always. Yeah. Always. I tell people that when they're freestyling, I think one thing that really throws people off when they're free dancing is that repetitive movement. And they might just go back to that same move over and over and over again. And they're like, oh, I suck at freestyling. I just repeat all the things that I know and that are in my body. And I only have 5 moves and I always go to those moves. And I just tell my students, that's okay. Your body wants to do that. It wants that repetition. It wants that feeling. But maybe challenge yourself to add the smallest nuance to make it different than the last time. And that's when the exploration and the magic starts to really happen.
Yeah, exactly.
You
Like you've got
know?
well-worn paths, you know, you think of the wheelbarrow, you've got those well-worn paths.
Yeah.
And when you've gotten those well-worn paths to a place where they feel very, very comfortable and cozy, and you can even do them without thinking, that's when you start to turn that wheelbarrow up a little bit and let it go back into the path, and then up on the other
Yeah.
side and let it go back to the path, and like starting to carve just outside of that. You don't need to just go across
Yeah.
the side of the yard where there's no,
Love
no
that.
paths at all, you know? Yeah. Cool.
I love that visual.
Well, thank you so much for chatting with us today.
Of course.
Yeah, Claudia and I, everybody, we have an awesome collaboration that we're working on right now. I'm so excited. Claudia knows I've been eating, breathing, sleeping this project. So, and
So
Claudia is
exciting.
it. I'm so excited. So definitely catch both Claudia and I and another 25 speakers speaking on all topics regarding helping beginner pole dancers to become well-rounded and inspired and to find their joy and to move to develop new techniques and skills. So make
I'm
sure.
so excited to be a part of it.
I know, I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. We open for registration next week. So everyone watch Claudia's space, watch my space, and we will be able to chat to you again very soon.
Yay. Thank you for having me. Great
You,
talking with you.
you too, Claudia. Take care. Bye.
Bye.